So I wanted to do a quick video about how we've been handling our recent interview process. So one of the things that we've done is included Skype interviews as a part of the kind of early screening process. So we look through the resumes, see who looks attractive to us, and then move on to the Skype process. And so one of the things that's interesting is how do you kind of manage this? We are in a fairly advanced video conferencing platform. We use a Tandberg system with multiple HD cameras and flat panel monitors. But the biggest problem we have is that there's not a really sort of inexpensive way to effectively bridge this system with software-based platforms like Skype, Google Chat, things like that. There are a couple platforms out there. I find them personally fairly expensive, but they do work fairly effectively. But what we've been doing has worked pretty well. So we've been using the displays, but just using a standard webcam. This is just basically a Microsoft Live Cam that works well with the Macs. We just throw it on a tripod using the tripod mount and just run a USB extension cable. We have found that you can run these USB extension cables about once. If you start adding on multiple ones, you're going to run into a limitation of power and data transmission. But this is plenty. I think this is about 15 foot of cable, 10 foot, something like that, so it's certainly long enough for our needs. The other thing is trying to get really good sound. And so one of the things that I ended up purchasing after doing a number of these over the last semester or two is picking up a PZM Boundary microphone. I found this one on Amazon. I don't exactly know who it is as I'm recording the video, but hopefully I can post those notes online with the video content. But it has worked just excellent. I mean, it's just really well. It's just been a great USB microphone. It does have a monitor out that you can't see from here. Lights up nice and red so you can see that it's on and plugged in. And we've had zero complaints about it. Everyone can speak sitting around. Our conference table here will have generally 5 or 6 people that are joining us for our search committee meetings. So just kind of give you a sense of what's going on in the table. I've got Skype up on the laptop here using a standard 15-inch MacBook Pro. I think it's a 2010 or 2011 model. Coming out of the table, we have our audio source input for the laptop, a network port, and a VGA. This is not a digital room yet. We haven't switched over to digital switching and HDMI yet, but that's one of the plans. So I'm using the mini display port to VGA adapter and hardwire networked in. Even though our wireless is pretty awesome here, we really have no trouble running wireless. We just like to take it safe and run it over the hardwire. And then, of course, the boundary microphone, USB camera, and then the audio that I was telling you about as well. Power is generally not a problem on the Macs, though I think that if you unplug the power and run off the battery, that the computer kind of dynamically scales its abilities down a little bit unless you explicitly tell it not to do so. So just plugging it in, I know that I'm going to get sort of that maximum performance out of it. So anyway, that's sort of the general setup, and it's worked really well. We've really enjoyed it. Looking to expand to kind of have a more permanent fixed system because we know that using services like Skype, Google Chat, and others are probably here to stay for some time. So where we have these cameras that are mounted up on the wall here, what we're looking to do is find a third additional camera. It's a little dark as we kind of light balance here, so I apologize. That will look very similar to this. There's a couple out there. I think Vadio is currently working on one as a part of their Easy USB tool kind of platform that will run over a UVC host. So anyway, we're really excited about that because then we can start actually using a really nice PTZ video camera as well as an AV bridge potentially in our back room here. We're not sure what we're going to go with, whether it's the camera or the AV bridge. They have an AV bridge that will let us take all of our video and camera signal here and bridge it over into a USB port that we can then run to a laptop computer somewhere. So both options kind of serve the same needs. It's just a matter of, do we want to leverage our current equipment or do we want to add additional camera? I think there's probably some advantages either way, but I think it's not a bad setup. So anyway, this is sort of a full frame of what's going on inside of both the camera and the setup. So from this point of view, unfortunately, these webcams have a kind of a weird angle a view when people are kind of looking at it, so that even as far back as I have it here, you can only really see about the last 5 chairs, so the 2 on the ends and then the one, of course, at the very end behind the touch control panel there. So pulling it much farther back, and you start to kind of lose some real clarity. And I personally feel like if you're going to do a Skype interview, you want it to be as personal as you reasonably can be, especially if you're doing it groups. I don't want to pull it back too much. So, we kind of sit close together, but I think it gives it a better feel anyway for the video. So anyway, that's what we're doing. If you have any questions, let me know.